Now, this disturbing intelligence indicates al-Qaeda's specific intention to hit the United States hard.
Joining me now, Dr. Robert Ng. He's a radio frequency engineer and a forensic intelligence specialist. Hi.
Hi, thank you.
So, when the United States says they've been monitoring a higher level of chatter, quote unquote, what is chatter?
Well, chatter relates to radio communications, any form of telecommunications that is, carried from point A to point B. A good example of monitoring chatter is the Echelon system. The Echelon system is an intelligence monitoring system that 5 countries have gotten together: the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and they share information and they monitor traffic.
So what does that mean exactly, though, Robert? I mean, how do you monitor traffic?
Okay, well, a good example is, take for instance, we'll use a radio in your car. When you're looking for a station, we'll say in a strange city, you hit the seek button, and the seek button will go through the different stations that are available and stop and then keep on going. But what happens is with the Echelon system, what it does is it actually goes through all these stations, but it locks on to all of them and waits until it hears a particular, we'll say, phrase, whether it could be let's bomb somewhere tonight, or let's plan a specific thing tonight, specific keywords and phrases, and it will lock onto that, and then it will download that into a system where an intelligence analyst will look at it further.
But of course they're not monitoring radio, they're monitoring what, private communications between people?
Well, yes, well, private communications can take the form of radio as well, such as a cellular telephone, a two-way radio, or we'll take, for instance, a satellite telephone system. As well, though, Echelon system also monitors 90% of all internet communications.
90%?
90%, as a matter of fact.
That's incredible.
And we're looking at worldwide. On a daily basis, they monitor, I would say, on average, about 3 billion communiques a day.
So obviously a lot of that, if you're going to monitor 3 billion a day, a lot of it's got to be automated.
It is.
So how does it decide, or how does the system decide which phrases might be significant?
Well, basically what happens is they use, you might say, supercomputers at different locations to, might say, filter out all these things. It monitors all these things simultaneously. The filters are built in, such as keywords, key phrases, mostly key phrases though, because keywords alone don't necessarily trigger the system. And bear in mind, we're not just talking about spoken communications. We're also talking about things such as, we'll say, graphics, audio-visual images as well. So if someone is using a satellite phone with a satellite link using video, they can use digital face recognition to identify if this is perhaps one of the people that they're after, that is doing a broadcast.
And they have, in this system called Echelon, and I guess
Yes.
other ones, have access to all of this traffic, email, telephone, everything around the world?
Well, Echelon does. Echelon is the largest monitoring, I'd say, security monitoring system in place in the world. There are smaller systems. There's ones in Russia, there's ones in China, but they're more national based. Whereas with the Echelon system, you're using different facilities across the world to monitor communications. Monitoring stations are in the U.S., they're in the United Kingdom, they're in Australia and Germany, of all places. These are where the main computing facilities and monitoring facilities are for these. But I mean, there's other secret locations as well.
Now, people planning terrorist actions must know that they're going to be monitored. It seems to me to be it could be fairly easy to disguise your intentions with code or with an odd way of phrasing something.
Well, it's interesting. A lot of privacy advocates, on the other hand, who say, yeah, Echelon exists and it's big brother, let's use codes and ciphers, or let's try to encode all this stuff. What they tend to forget is it might be a deterrent, but actually to Echelon it's really not a deterrent, in that part of the intelligence operation of any intelligence gathering agency is to decode ciphers and various things. So that you have cryptologists, and you even have computer crypto programs that can crack codes. So they're looking for specific sequences, numeric patterns, etc., and saying, okay, these could be targeted phrases as well, and they will be in turn downloaded for analysts to look at.
Now, so level of chatter is one thing, and it raises people's fears and raises alertness, but I mean, it doesn't seem to me they can be so specific as to say individual A is planning to bomb place B on this date.
Well, what happens is with individual chatter, a good example is Echelon, of course, uses, you might say, the spaghetti in the bucket approach. You throw it against a wall, you catch everything, and then you sort it out and say, okay, this is a good one, this is a bad one. That's initially what Echelon does. But then once you've established the channels on the chatter channels, or the specific ways that these groups communicate, you can monitor specific channels. Now, using another system called Megacarta, they can actually determine, based on information contained in the message, the exact geographic location of where it originated from, who it's going to, those kinds of things.
Just one more quick thing, Robert. Do you think that this international system for tracking information exchange, conversation, and so on, is stronger and better now than it was leading up to September the 11th?
Well, I would say that it probably is certainly giving a lot work, having a good workout, if you will. I would say it would be stronger, but you have to bear in mind that it's been underrated for the longest while. Echelon's been with us since 1971, and it has been actually developed over the past few years. But really, it's something that the United States government flatly refuses to acknowledge that even exists, which is kind of interesting as well.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Dr. Robert Ng is a forensic intelligence specialist.